If you knew what your true yes was and what your true no was in all areas of your life, would you be able to choose faster and easier? What futures would those choices create? Everyone is capable of connecting to their bodies in a way to have more exuberant and joyful living now and in the future. Now, here is your host of Choosing a Different Future with Siris.
Hi everyone, I'm Siris Raquel Rivas Verdejo, and welcome to Choosing a Different Future this week with myself and with any of y'all who are willing to choose a different future. And thank you for each of you who are willing to choose a different future, talk about this stuff that's like so out there and yet so not out there and super, super necessary. Today's topic is building your confidence by awakening the powers within. I'm needing this today. I'm needing this conversation so much, and I really hope that this contributes to you. In case you're new to our show is all about different tips and strategies and tools that you can use to create something that's amazing and that lights you up. A life, a living, a business, a relationship, a family that lights you up, where everyone gets to thrive beyond what's been projected and expected of you, beyond what your friends are choosing, your family's choosing, your neighbors, your colleagues, whoever they are. And the tools that we're mentioning come from my own personal experiences, from our guests when we have guests, and we're going to have some guests coming up soon, and from my work with all my clients over the last 17 years or so now as a family and child coach, a speech language pathologist, learning behavioral specialist, a therapeutic energy worker, and more recently, in the last couple of years, it has been years now, I must acknowledge this. People are telling me and nudging me, hey, you got to really give yourself credits. I'm going to give myself credit. It's been years now, 4 or 5 years, where we've also been playing around with the living and dying body process. And it came through while I was working with my clients doing other therapeutic energy work, and it had its own personality, its own energy. And so we're going to be playing with that today as well. But let me read to you our description for today's episode. So like I said, it's about building your confidence by awakening the powers within. Okay. So building your confidence. It requires considering multiple factors. When someone feels powerless, worthless, or lost, partnering with their body and awakening the powers within them allows them to feel clearer on their past, present, and future, so that they can take action, shifting effortlessly from one way of being, speaking, receiving, and creating to another with ease. And that's a big part, with ease. Without an awareness of the powers, a category of the elements of living, people perpetuate the limiting patterns of victimhood that keep them captive to their fear, doubt, and regret. So, what if we utilize all the energies at our disposal and navigate the world with more poise, no matter what is happening in our lives? Instead of criticizing ourselves, we can go deeper into what it would take for us to know how strong and capable we are. And the powers are all about, where do you feel strong and where do you feel capable? So we're going to invite you to that today, if you are willing. And so as I share this key information on the elements of living, particularly the category of the powers, this is one of the 9 categories of the elements of living, you will receive messages from your body. And I invite you to say hi to them, to say hi to your bodies right now, and to see which of the things that I mentioned is a yes, that it lights you up, that it moves you upwards, that it's lighter. What is your yes today, right? And then what is your no? You'll know what things are your no. That's not relevant to you. And if it's not relevant to you, please don't make it relevant to you, y'all. So this is really essential for you to be able to recognize which of these elements you have already awakened, which ones are alert and activated, which are asleep. That's the second state it could be in. There's awakened and alert. There's a second is asleep. The third is hidden or buried. And the fourth is blocked, which are blocked so that you can move from powerless, feeling powerless, to feeling empowered, to feeling anxious, to having a sense of confidence. And we'll be able to transmute what doesn't serve you into courageous, exuberant living. I'm going to say that one more time. Are you willing to transmute anything that doesn't serve you and turn it into courageous, exuberant living? If you are, let's do this thing today. Let's freaking go. All right. A little caveat. So I was saying earlier, I'm just going to put it out there, let y'all know where I'm at. It's been one of those days today. And this is a pre-record. So if you're catching this right now, by the time you're watching this, I am on my way to Ohio to our awakening class there. And the energies of the class are already here, already contributing. The people's stuff are showing up. It's really, really interesting. And for those of you who are coaches and facilitators and teach classes, maybe you know what I'm talking about, where before you're going to an event, before you're about to attend a party or teach a class, you're already starting to pick up on information about that event, about the people that are there. And what if you didn't resist that? What if you didn't feel like you needed to protect yourself from that, but instead you knew, hey, this isn't mine, not mine, not mine, not mine. Okay, got it. And so what happens when you have your yes and your no with your body? And we're going to do that. We're going to start off a practice again of how to do that. When you have the yes and no with your body, you can more confidently know what stuff is actually for you, what the people are for you, the things that are relevant to you, and what is so not you, but you're just picking up on it with your spidey sense, with your magical antenna. And it is magical, my friends. It is amazing, because this is part of the amazing, the awesome, the wonder that is you. And one of the things that I am really looking forward to, and that I love when I'm working with kiddos from whatever age, from birth to young adults to adults, because you're kiddos too, if you're an adult and you're listening to this, is what if you could have your sense of wonder more and recognize that you are magic? There's this magical potion concoction of things that are you. And so when we're talking about the powers, it's not about having all of them or none of them. For a lot of this, we have different levels for each of them. Some of them are fully awakened. Some of them are we're pushing the snooze button on them a little bit. We know that they're there, but we're just asleep. We're not really wanting to mess with that right now. Okay, we're not using that right now. And then there's some that are hidden and buried because we want a little bit of distance from them for whatever reason. And maybe something happened in some point of our lives that made it so we wanted to bury that aspect of ourselves. And then blocked, well, I would like for at least no one to be blocked at all, where you just have no information at all about any of these powers. If I mention something about them, there's nothing. You just draw a blank. I'd like for at least for you to have some tendrils of information that you can maybe start to pull at. Start to do a little yankety yank on it a little bit to start seeing what's at the end of it for you. So that's my minimal ask, but you get to get bonus points, gold stars, brownies, whatever you want if you want to go beyond that. And you get to choose. I cannot force you to activate your powers, but what I will do is talk about some scenarios in which it would be beneficial for you to have these powers awakened, so that you not only can build your confidence, but that you have more of you. You have more certainty of who you are, so that you're making sure that you're including yourself in your life, and that your life is for you and not just for other people. You can be for other people as well. All right. You can still be giving and healing and caring. And I get that for a lot of you, maybe you have turned your back on some of your powers, buried them, pushed them away, hit the snooze button, because you think that is you caring. And if you don't care for yourself, if you don't care for yourselves, my beautiful, beautiful friends, It is so, so much harder to care for other people. I tried it. I tried it for years. I tried it for 10, 15 years. And it created so much havoc in my body. It created so much depression and anxiety and pressure. Oh, the pressure. Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess the other side of it is now I'm a diamond. But I'm just kidding. But man, wouldn't it be lovely to not have so much pressure that you put on yourself, so much weight that you carry? This is part of what embracing our powers and activating them can do. This is just a couple of things. So let's go ahead and start with our yes and our no first, because this is going to be really, really important today. It's always important, but man, today more than ever with this topic, because I really would like for you to get how powerful you really are, because a lot of us are feeling very helpless right now, feeling very pushed around from a lot of different things, from politics and policies in the world to natural disasters to family heartaches, you name it. I'm hearing messages about it every day, all day long, be it from my guides in my body to people actually calling me and emailing me about this. And I welcome the messages, and I want to make sure that you have these tools in your arsenal so that you can have a bit more space and breathing room with all of that. And every little bit of that space helps, right? Every incremental bit that you can breathe a little bit easier. Yes, let's choose that. Let's choose that together. So let's ask your body, go ahead and give your body a hug. For some of you, if you're new to this, make sure that you are standing. It might be easier for you to perceive this standing with your knees soft instead of sitting like I'm doing right now. Okay. And ask your body, what is our yes today? And notice what sound, movement, energy, vibration, what taste, what smell, what you feel, that is your yes today with your body. So for me today, it's kind of moving forward in like an undulating motion. Yes, darling. And I feel way lighter all of a sudden, really being my yes with my body, which yay, I needed that. I was having a lot of really interesting news that was not so great right before recording this call. So thank you, body. And let's see what our no is. Ready? Give yourselves a hug again. Make sure your knees are soft. Body, what's our no today? And today, notice, for those of you that are watching me on the TV, on a screen, you can see that my body, I can't even control it. It is pulling me back. That's my no today. Now, yesterday, my no was pushed down, like my shoulders being pushed down, like my chest was being pulled down, like a rope was being right here in my chest and pulling it down. Sometimes it feels like a punch in the gut. Sometimes it feels like a movement, like, nope, like my head turning to the left, my head turning to the right. It's different. Sometimes it's a certain, like a burp or a yawn. All right. For everybody, it's different. There is no right and wrong, because this is for you. This is for you and your body and nobody else. Nobody else has to approve it. Nobody else has to give you permission to perceive it. It's for you. So do that a couple times until you have it clear. And one of the elements of living that I'm going to talk about after this next break is going to make it so that if it's really subtle, if let's say you like, I think that my yes is this, but I'm not quite sure, or I think my yes is my no is this other thing. How could I make it louder? We're going to look at that after this next break, because especially if this is something new to you, if it's something that you're flexing your muscles with for the first time, you may need to ask for the volume to be a little bit louder, because you're so used to only listening to the things that are like a sledgehammer, that are super, super loud. And most of the time, the messages that we get from our bodies, unless we really love the drama of it all, which I definitely have people in my life that love really dramatic message receiving, and that's fine too. It's totally valid. But for a lot of us, we're not used to listening to the whispers. We're not used to listening to it really, really early when it's those tendrils I was talking about that you get to start pulling. And when you catch it earlier, you save yourself so much time, so much energy, so much wasted efforts on people and things and projects that are not for you, or maybe it's not time for you to delve into that and go there. So we're going to talk about one of the powers that can do that so that things are louder and that then we have more confidence in what we're picking up on. Okay, so it's time for our first break of the show. When we return, we will continue to discuss all of that. And you're listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, with myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we're going to continue to talk about our topic today, building your confidence by awakening the powers within. We'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today's show topic is building your confidence by awakening the powers within. Our show is brought to you by Protanden's Tri-Synergizer. Take advantage of the important contribution from every Protandim supplement. You get comprehensive benefits, including support for healthy aging, optimal cellular energy, improved mental focus, and healthy longevity. Make sure to check out our episodes page for more information on the products. These activate the production of antioxidants, mitochondria, and sirtuins, key components for overall long-term health. And I personally have been taking this product for 5 years now, and it makes such a huge difference with my gut health, with my energy, and my mental focus, so that I can do all of the aspects of my business and my life that I really love and enjoy, including getting to talk to you all. Yay! All right. And before we went on break, we were talking about the power, starting to talk about that. We got our yes and our no with our bodies. Excellent. If you have any questions about how to do that, if the way that we did it today didn't work for you, there are about 5 or 6 different ways that I hop around in how to ask my yes and my no and get my yes and no with my body. And each day it might be a little bit different what we need to do. So it's okay. It's okay. Practice, practice, practice. I gotcha. And email me if you have any questions. So one of the things that are really important to know, and in case you're new to our discussions about the elements of living, I want to talk to you about that really quick. The elements of living came from the living and dying body process, and we're coming through as I was giving sessions of the living and dying body process to myself, to clients, to family and friends. And there are 9 categories of the elements of living. Let's see if I can remember all of them right now. There's influencers, door openers, distractors, the powers that we're talking about today, the celebrants, the outlaws, the destroyers, the discoverers, and which one am I missing? Oh, and the worlds. Yay, I did it. Okay, So there are those 9 categories. I got to give myself props today. It's one of those days. I got to lift myself up. You ever have one of those days where you just got to, yes, I need to get lifted a little bit more. And sometimes we got to be our own cheerleaders, which is what the celebrants do. So the powers in particular, they encompass all of the energies of all those other categories, those moments and elements for when you've ever feel like you are powerful, when you're intense, when you're strong. That is you being the powers. And these ingredients, these elements of living are in our environment all around us and also within us. So sometimes it's beneficial to see these examples of how they play out in other people's lives, in movies, in literature, in TV shows, in art, just to kind of awaken this in us, depending on how we process information and take in information. And as a speech language pathologist and special education teacher, I very much think about how do people take things in? What's the easiest way for them to learn and integrate information? What do they do with it? And then how do they take it out in the world? What do they do with it internally? And then what do they do with it externally and institute it in some way into the world? And so with the powers, there's a clarity of vision of past, present, and future. You can access them. You can time travel. You can visit other lives or just information within this life. You don't have to believe in past lives to benefit from an awareness and an understanding of the powers. And there's an unmistakable knowing. There's this unmistakable knowing of what to do and when to execute any action. And think about what that would create for you if you knew not only, hey, this is required right now, this is being asked of me, but oh, now is the time, right now, let's go. And you are so certain versus like, you're wringing your hands, you're doing a little bit of a waffling, you're going, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe yes, maybe no, back and forth, never really getting any momentum forward. Those that have the powers and be these powers, when they're activated, they are more confident. And man, I wish I had this information and these powers as awakened as I do now when I was in elementary school, 5th, 6th grade, in middle school. Oh my God, when I was coming home crying every day of 7th grade, I would have loved to know this. And so I'm speaking to the adults listening, but man, if you are a child or you work with kids or you are raising kids, I would love to put this information in your world and in their world, because this would be a game changer for kids to know that they are powerful, that they are capable, that they are strong, that they're resilient, no matter who's around them, what they're saying, what's going on in their lives, from their family to school, all of it. That is one of my personal missions, because I just feel like a lot of kids are feeling very disempowered right now, and they have been for a long time. They're not being listened to, they're not being heard, and they really need to be, because their awareness of things is going to be essential for what we create moving forward, including a different future. So sometimes with the powers, it's a fluidity of movement, like we talked about, where you're moving between different things. So when you are not tapped into the powers, there's so much. You feel not just helpless and powerless, but you feel worthless. There's a lot of insecurities that come up. So if you feel insecure more times than not, because every one of us, we have moments where we like question things. We're like, can I do this? Am I capable of this? Is this for me to do? That's totally typical, very normal. But if more times than not, you feel like the world may be better without you in it, or that you're not really contributing, that you don't really get the gift that you be to the world, then you probably have the category and some of the elements of living within the category of the powers blocked, hidden / buried, or asleep. And I really invite you to listen very carefully to this, because I'd like you to get that you actually are worthy, that you always have been, that there's a greatness in you that the world is asking for, and that if you are willing to awaken these powers, the world would not just be different, it would be better. The world would not just be different, it would be better. We just got to be willing to put our big girl, big boy, big person pants on and do the work. And I'm not going to lie and say it's always going to be easy, but we can have a lot more ease with it than we've been told. And maybe we haven't even been told at all, because most people aren't talking about this stuff. And that's certainly what I'd like to change. I'd like to change the discussions in schools and families to include this type of information. So if you are finding yourself kind of rigid about certain things, you are perhaps compensating for not feeling powerful, capable, strong in a certain area of your life. And so I wonder what powers you can awaken with that. So remember, as I'm saying certain things, see, is this relevant to me? Do you get a yes? Do you get a no? Check in with your yes, check in with your no, and see if it's relevant to you. Please, I'm going to remind you, if it's a no and it's not relevant to you, don't make it relevant to you, my very aware, empathetic friends, all right? You don't need to bring it into your body, into your reality, just because you're aware that it might be going on for somebody else. That being said, you may be thinking about a family member, a friend, an ex-partner of yours, one of your students, one of your patients or clients. Note that and have that on your periphery and be aware of it so you're not blindsided. It doesn't slap you in the face, but that include their energy in this discussion as well. And let's see if your ahas and your awareness can also flow to them. Okay. And that is one of the powers, is how we can actually create something different when we are willing to be more and show up more and have more awareness. It has this rippling out effect. All right. So one of the powers that I want to talk about first, I'm looking at my list and seeing which ones are the ones that would contribute to us the most right now. I'm going to start with the tides. Given that we're talking about this rippling out effect, there's this ebb and flow of our awareness of ourselves and of others. This particular example of the powers can sometimes wash over us and seem overwhelming, especially if it's something times new, or if maybe we're dysregulated, we don't have a sense of calm. Maybe our vagus nerve is overactivated. And we're getting all this input. This is a sensory overload. For a lot of the people I work with, they get overwhelmed by all of this stuff that they're aware of, all these energies that they're picking up on, these feelings that they're picking up on from other people. And I work with them to learn how to regulate themselves, calm themselves down, so that they can distinguish between what's theirs, what is not theirs, what's for something for them to do something about, and what's not something for them to do something about, and go from there. So when you really are the power of the tides, you can let things flow through or on. You don't lock it in your body. So it's not that you block the awareness. No, you're not going to pull up the walls, because that actually cuts off your receiving of you and cuts off your receiving of the people and the things that are wanting to play with you and contribute to you and have fun, right? And give you money, all these different things. So we don't want to put up walls, but we definitely want to have things move on through that do not need to be in our bodies. We can pick up and kind of filter them out and see, okay, what's actually for me? Oh, this one's for me, but the rest of it, oh, let it move on through. We can also wash away the lies. And there's been so many lies that we've been told about bodies, about what's possible, about what we can choose and when we don't have choice, which is very few moments where we don't have a choice. There are so many lies that we can wash away about perception and awareness, and what abundance can be like for us, abundant living can be like, what is available to us in the unseen, in the dark, and what's available to us in the light, and in the things that seem to be very apparent, but they still can have a bit of an illusion or holograph to them. So all of these things, are we willing to wash away the lies, wash away and let move on through whatever doesn't belong to us, whatever is not going to be for our greatest good? And if so, go ahead and say, hi, tides. Hi to the tides within you. This is also includes your circulation. The majority of our bodies is water. So when we be the tides, we actually let things move on through. I've had people report that they have better digestion after activating the tides within their body, because it's moving along the liquids. It's helping things circulate and go on through your body instead of having it stuck and be solid. Next thing you know, you're taking forever to use the bathroom, or you're not really using the bathroom. If you're not having a bowel movement after every meal, then you're probably holding on to stuff that you don't need to hold on to. And I was super surprised when I found this out after working with holistic physicians for so long now. When they first told me that, I was like, what do you mean? I thought, 1 or 2 goes a day was sufficient. And they were like, are you just eating 1 or 2 times a day? And I was like, no, I'm eating maybe like 2-3 times. And they're like, then you should be going 2-3 times. And I was like, oh, I got to address this. I got to work on this. And so between my work and what I do with them and the supplements and activators I take, including the tri-synergizer we were talking about, and this energy work and being aware and activating the tides within me, I can ask for my body to have more of this flow and those rhythms that are beneficial to it. Just like the tides of the ocean, there's a rhythm, right? There's benefits to that and being that. And sometimes for those of you that live by the ocean or are water babies like me, you get this. When you're by the ocean, has anyone else, raise your hand. I'm gonna see if I can perceive how many hands are being raised right now. Raise your hand if when you're at the ocean, you not only feel more relaxed, but you have better digestion. It's uncanny to me how much I release, not just digestively, but energetically too. I feel like a weight is just pouring out of me. Everything solid is just pouring out of my body. And I feel so much more spacious being around the ocean or listening to ocean sounds. Well, this is a recognition of like recognizes like. It's saying, oh, you are me and I am you, and you have this power within you as well. And how cool is that? How much more could we use that to our advantage? Mm-hmm. So let's take our next break, y'all. You are listening to Siris on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And when we come back, we're going to continue to discuss some of the other powers that we can awaken within us so that we can build our confidence. For our topic of today, building your confidence by awakening the powers within. So we'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is building your confidence by awakening the powers within. And our show is brought to you by Protanden's Tri-Synergizer. Take advantage of the important contribution from every Protandan supplement. You get comprehensive benefits, including support for healthy aging, optimal cellular energy, improved mental focus, and healthy longevity. And you can go to our episodes page to find out information about the products, including the Protanden's Tri-Synergizer and all the other natural plant-based products that LifeVantage has. Now, the other thing I'd love for you guys to know is that this Friday, by the time you're hearing this, it'll be today, we have a meet and greet in Columbus, Ohio at Citizens Trust, where we get to meet with anybody that's in the community that would like to connect with me, say hi. And it's also going to be for the participants of our awakening class. That'll be the next day, Saturday, August 19th. So for you, by the time you listen to this, tomorrow. And that's an in-person only class. We have 10 spots available. We have a few left if you want to join us. And that class is where people learn to give and receive the living and dying body process, which is where these elements of living, like the powers we're talking about today, come from. And then we also have a class Saturday, November 4th, and that one will be in person in Chicago, Illinois, in Chicago proper, and live streaming around the world. The theme of that class is coming home to you, and the theme for this weekend's class will be unleashing the hidden gems within you, like the powers, perhaps. So go ahead, drive in, fly in, join us in Columbus, Ohio for that class, and check out the information at empoweringlightlanguage.com/living and dying for any of our awakening classes. We also have the Expansive Energies group, which is our self-care group. In that group, we meet twice a month for 45 minutes around different themes. This month's theme is celebrating the destruction of limitation. Pum, pum, pum. And and we get to give group therapeutic energy work. So I'll be providing group therapeutic energy work to the participants. We play around with all different energies in there, including the living and dying body process, but we have theta healing and access consciousness tools, and we play with tantra and shamanism and energy flows and so many things. We talk with the earth and our bodies, and it's awesome. So I would love to have you contribute to the group and be there. And it's only $45 a month to join that group. And the information is at empoweringlightlanguage.com/expansive energies. And in the hopes of reaching more families around the world, we're also going to be having our monthly Being a Different Possibility for Families call. These are virtual calls. We have one August 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern, North America, on the theme, There's No One Size Fits All, and September 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and the topic is Learning Through Movement. And then we're starting to create some live meet and greets for Being a Different Possibility for families. We've had two now. The next one is September 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern in Charlotte. But if you'd like a live in-person meet and greet or any of these classes wherever you are, go ahead and reach out to me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. I do travel to facilitate classes, and I do classes virtually as well. So reach out. Holla. All right. Now, before we went on break, we were talking about the powers of the tides. That's one of the elements of living, the tides. And another one I wanted to talk about, because this is one that a lot of y'all send me messages about, is like, how do I talk and communicate during conflict or confrontation? How do I make sure that I'm expressing my desires and these new things I want to try in my relationship? How do I have a voice in my family? We did the Fantastical Voice in Families call a couple months ago. I think it was May or June, for our Being a Different Possibility for Families virtual calls. So for any of those calls, you just go to empoweringlightlanguage.com/events. You click the image of the Being a Different Possibilities for Families, and you go ahead and fill out the Google form there, and we will send you the replays of any of those previous calls we've done. If those are a topic that resonates with you that you would like to hear about. We've done calls on a lot of different topics. And when we talked about our fantastical voice, both on this podcast and on those calls, one of the things that I would do is I would call upon the siren. The siren is one of the elements of living that's a power that we have within us that allows us, when we awaken it, hello, sirens, we actually get to have our voice, and we also get to have our silence. And they're both important. There's a lot there that we can perceive in the silence. When you're quiet with yourself, and for those of you that meditate, for those of you that like going into like a trance state or a learning state, and you sit, or those moments when you're first waking up and it's quiet and hush, right? Maybe that's when you like to have your coffee, your tea. Maybe you like to write and read them because it's before everyone's gotten up, before the neighbors are even up. There's so much that you can get and pick up on in those silences. And that's why it's just as important to be willing to be with the silence as it is to verbally express, because most of the communication is not verbal. And take it from me as a speech language pathologist, I was just as surprised as anyone when I heard that in grad school. And I was like, what do you mean 85% of communication is nonverbal? Huh. Well, then maybe the people who are considered quote unquote nonverbal that I work with, maybe they're actually more ahead of the game than we give them credit for. They got 85%. But we're focusing on that 15% that they don't have. And there's so much that they're communicating to us in that silence, or in the jargon that they're using, in the gestures that they're using. There's so much that they're communicating to us. And if we were willing to be the sirens that we've always been, we could use our voices to advocate for them, to acknowledge them, to compliment them and see, hey, I hear you, I see you, you're of value. And also for us to do that for ourselves, which for many of us is challenging sometimes, and it takes some practice. So if you would like to have greater ease with communicating, say hi to the sirens. Say hi to the sirens within you and around you. Hi, sirens. I really became aware of the sirens initially when I was finding a way, I was looking for a way to not stutter anymore. And unlike a lot of the members on my mom's side of the family who stuttered, I only would stutter during public speaking like this. When I was giving lectures, when I was presenting in front of the classroom in high school and college onward, I would go and it would be so bumpy, and I would just be so tripping over certain words. And I actually recognize now that the few times I do it now, I know what strategies to use to have more fluent speech. I studied them, I've practiced them, I'm embodying them. And if you are someone who has disfluent speech, who stutters or has some disfluencies every once in a while, I wonder what your body's trying to tell you in those moments. And I say this because one of the things I started to recognize with my body, and this may be different for yours, but I'm just going to throw it out there, is when I started to stutter, and even now when I start to have some bumpy speech, as I call it when I work with my kiddos, it's usually an awareness of judgment. It's usually an awareness of something that I'm talking about is bringing up stuff in the people's world who are listening to me. If I'm talking about when it's first happened, when I first became aware of it, I was talking about rape myths and realities, and what's true about rape, what's been misinformation around rape, and what we could do to prevent it within ourselves in our own lives and within the people that we love. It's a little bit charged that brings up in people's worlds, right? And I was stuttering like crazy. Now, when I talk about different things, I'm like, oh, I'll acknowledge it. I start stuttering, and then I'm like, oh, this is bringing up some stuff for y'all. Got it. And guess what happens? I stop stuttering. My body's like, oh, you got the message. Okay, cool. And it like softens. There's less tension in my chest. It's less tension in my body overall, because sometimes it doesn't just show up in my chest. My jaw relaxes, and I'm like, ooh, okay. Here we go. That's what a siren can do. A siren can recognize what their voice creates, what their presence can create, and is willing to embrace that power to use it to their advantage and to the advantage of the people that they care about, to advantage of the people in the world that they'd like to advocate for and to create a different future for. So if that is relevant to you, if you get a yes on that, did you get a yes? Did you get a no? You let me know. If you got a yes on that, what if you actually leaned into your siren abilities even more? Okay. And so would it be more effective, let's see, to communicate a certain way for certain people and then change it when you're dealing with somebody else? A siren can change their voice and throw their voice and adapt it. It's like the shape-shifting of voices and of communication. Shape-shifting is another one of the powers. We're probably not going to get a chance to talk about it as much today, but if you're interested in me talking about it more in the future episode, let me know. I listen to y'all, I really do. And it's looking at, okay, so what is the most effective way for me to communicate with this person, with this situation? Would a more assertive way of communicating be more effective? A more delicate approach? I had to learn, because I'm very assertive, I'm very intense, to be more soft, to shut my face, because it wasn't going to be received, or it wasn't going to be heard, or it wasn't the right time, and to learn to wait in the silence for the right time. But I had to be more comfortable with silences. And I can tell you from birth, I was never that comfortable with silences. I've been talking like crazy since I was born. My mom and dad will tell you, my family will tell you. And yet there is so much power in those silences and being willing to use those silences to your advantage. A siren does that and more. So let's go ahead and take our next break, y'all. Enjoy the marinating in these energies of the siren right now. You're listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, with myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we will continue to discuss building your confidence by awakening the powers within. We'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you. This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is building your confidence by awakening the powers within. I really, really hope that you've been enjoying this discussion so far. I want to do a bit of a check-in before we talk about one more example of the powers. Notice your body right now. How does it feel after we've talked about the tides? Is the tides awakened in you, asleep, hidden / buried, blocked? And what would you like it to be? Would you like it to move along the spectrum more toward awakened or not? You get to choose. And then how about the siren? We talked about the siren before our break. Do you have that awakened? Asleep? Hidden? Buried? Or blocked? There isn't a right or wrong. It's what's actually true for you right now. And then what would you like? Would you like to have it more awakened? Would you like to have more ease with the verbal and the nonverbal? with expression and with silences? Would you like to have more ease with letting things move through you instead of having it get stuck and you becoming really rigid or controlling? Even if you haven't recognized exactly where you are rigid and controlling, but everyone's telling you or they're alluding to it, and you're like, really? I am? Don't worry. Fellow control freak here. Hello. Control freaks club right here. Yeah, I had to learn how to look at that and navigate that. And that was part of it. So I mentioned that there was a power that can ramp up how loudly we receive the messages. There's a lot of different ways I've learned of how to ramp this up because, again, for each of us, what we require is different. I got to look at how you take in information, how you process it internally, and what you do with it externally, what you put out in the world about with that information that you're processing. And this is one way. The powers is one way, and there's a couple of others as well. But the powers of electric, if you say, hi, electric, notice how your body responds to that. When you have that power activated, you get information faster, things arrive sooner, you add more energy, more oomph, more vroom, 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 and intensity to the messages you're receiving. So when it is a whisper and you'd like it to be louder, ask the electric, hey, turn on, hello, and can I get zapped with this so it's so clear, it's so undeniable, there's no way I can be like, I wonder if that was right or not. No, it was so clear. It's super potent in your world. And then you can choose from there what you're going to do with those messages that your body is trying to tell you or that the universe is trying to tell you. Because this also plays into receiving information from not just your body, but from other bodies and your environment in a way that can actually work for you instead of you being like, knocked around. I'm done being knocked around by my awareness. How about you? Okay. So I like the zap. It's like zoop, it wakes you up. You're like, oh, got it. I actually find it to be really, really fun. But then I also like electroplay for you kinky mofos out there. So that's another thing. And so I'd really invite you to play around with these three powers. And if you would like to know more information about the elements of living, remember we have information on it on our episode page. There's a self-paced course on the elements of living that you can check out. Do it at your leisure. It shows you more information about all 9 categories and how to awaken it within you. And then next week, we're going to be talking about choosing relationships which open the door to more exuberant living. This is a sequel to our episode, When Your Relationships Influence You Away from Exuberant Living. Y'all asked for this because you were like, okay, I get it when they've moved away. Now I'd like to find the ones that actually open the door so I can have exuberant living. We're going to talk about that together because we've probably all experienced all kinds of relationships that either move us toward what we'd like or move us away from what we'd like. And you get to choose. But sometimes we might need to illuminate what those signs are so that we can see those indicators and then we can choose accordingly what's going to work for us. Sometimes we don't realize that it is something that's taking us away until someone points it out. And until we recognize, okay, what can I choose instead? And how can I go from, okay, I'm aware of this and now what? So we're going to be talking about that in that episode. I hope you enjoy that one as well, and we can check it out. And that one will be live. Yes. So we can actually have the live chat as well. I won't be traveling then. So make sure to join us on the live chat for that one by going to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room at 10 a.m. Friday that week. And next week, I'm all thrown off with the pre-recording. And if you have any questions that you'd like me to address ahead of time, email me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing your comments, your feedback, your questions. And if you have any other ideas for any future episodes, let me know. I adore each and every one of you. You can't do anything about it. And have a wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Choosing a Different Future show. Siris returns Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, keep choosing what will work for you and your body, your own unique way honoring what will work for you.